Today on the channel, an iFlight Classic is reborn. This is the iFlight iH3 edition with GPS. It's a mid-range 3.5-inch cruiser or freestyle quad. Guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Justin Davis, and in today's review, we're going to check out the brand new iFlight iH3 edition. It has full-on stabilized 4K video on here, 1080p transmission FPV camera in the very front, and a ton of protection up front. Also has a little mini mount up here, and it has a Recess XT30 on here. So we're going to fly it today with a 4S 850 milliamp on board. It should get us around 12 minutes flight time, and that's pretty good for a little mini 4S battery. We're also going to put it on the scale and weigh it for you. And they also say you can get up to about 18 minutes flight time with this little guy with a 4S 1050 milliamp battery. So I'll put some battery links down below for some of the full send batteries that they recommend. Now I've got my DJI antenna sticking out the back here, but it also has a GPS on the very back. So you have return to home on this quad as well. So it's ultra lightweight and it has an F7 flight controller. It has 4-bolt top plate release, which I also love. And it's called the iH3 because, well, it's a 3.5-inch quad, but it has an H configuration frame on here. So that is pretty cool because, why? You don't see props in the view when you're flying. But without further ado, speaking of flying, let's go outside now and let's rip some packs. And we'll come back into the bench. We'll talk about this guy on the bench, the new version of the iH3 from iFlight. Here we go. Welcome back from the flight test, guys. That was a lot of fun to fly this little guy. It's super nimble and fast, and it has a good throttle punch out if you want to do freestyle, which is pretty cool. So it's on the scale right here on the bench, and we're looking at 218 grams without the battery. Now with a 4S 850 on board, we're going to get around 309 grams. And you're going to get additional weight if you add an extra decased GoPro on there or other type of Insta360 camera, but it's pretty light for what it is and the flight time considering. Now let's get real about the iH3 Now, this is an expensive quad. This is not for everybody. When I pulled up the iFlight website, the first price that I saw for the PNP version, if you have the DJI FPV Remote Controller 2, it's $559. That's for if you're going to bind it up to your DJI radio. So the next version is the TBS Crossfire Nano version, which I have here with the mini antenna on the back. That seats at $588. The ELRS 915 megahertz version is $575, and the ELRS 2.4 version is $575. So it's almost $600. But let's talk about the good stuff, and maybe let's talk about some not so great stuff. The good stuff is that, yes, you get a pretty long flight time at 12 to 18 minutes with a 1050, they're saying. I was not able to get 18 minutes on mine yet, but I am able to get over 10 minutes flight time, real world flight time. But today in my flight test, it was super cloudy, overcast, and we had some strong winds up there in those trees. So I think that the video I came back with was pretty decent because iFlight has their brand new silicone dampening on the side of this camera setup here. So that makes it a lot smoother video with, instead of just having it mounted right straight to that TPU mount. Now, this also comes with a bolt for your micro mount here. That's not a full-size GoPro mount, by the way. And you get an extra cable here for adding to the flight controller coming out to power your external camera. You get one set of 3.5-inch props as well in the box. And iFlight also gives you some Betaflight RC link information for different profiles. If you're using TBS Crossfire or Express ELRS, they give you some extra information there. As to different profiles that they have already set up for those, that is pretty cool for a legit strong link to your RX. Now, if you're looking at this and thinking, it kind of looks like the Flywoo Explorer, which I've already seen. It's a kind of a mid-range cruiser also with some GPS on the back. You would be right. It's very similar to that, but iFlight has the H design going. And I reviewed the original iH3, it seems like 4 or 5 years ago now. And the last time I reviewed this quad, it was set up on an analog setup. And now we have the new version with the DJI 03 in the back right here. It's really easy to get to this on both sides. It's completely opened up. There's no side skirts on this quad or anything like that. SD card is totally accessible. On the very back here is where we have this TPU mount set up for the GPS, which also tilts all the way around. They made the wire long enough so that you can move it around if you're going to transport it. That's kind of cool. I have my miniature Immortal T coming out the back right here, and my singular antenna, which you can also take out and fold to the side if you're going to put it in a case. That's kind of cool. And we have our 3.5-inch props here, which are HQ. And I have to say, if you're worried about Karens, this quad is really actually kind of quiet. These props are really thin cord and really small tapered on the ends, so that makes them super, super quiet and stealthy. I also like the fact, and this might be my favorite part about this besides this classic H-frame, is that we have a recessed XT30 right here. I love that. That makes it nice and kind of also out of the way. And if you didn't notice, the original H3 that I had from iFlight, I put a 3S 2200 pack on this body. I've called this the classic truck bed before. It's super long front to back. You have tons of clearance from all the way back here to here, and you can fly this on a 3S battery. I was able to get like 20 minutes with a 3S 2200 milliamp battery originally, and that is some seriously good flight time. Now, working on this should be pretty easy because they went back to the classic 4-bolt top plate configuration, which is a very, very FPV community favorite thing for an FPV 5-inch quads or the smaller 3-inch series quads. This is really nice because once this top plate has the 4 bolts off, they are M3 bolts, by the way, and they're also M2 bolts on there. So they have M3 hardware and M2, so you'll need both driver tips to work on it. But I like this 2-up stack that they have right here. 2-up meaning DJI 03 in the very back here. I've got a little TPU mount right here for my TBS Crossfire Nano or your ELRS receiver. And up here I have kind of a nice little power distribution board coming off this XT30 right here. This is a custom step down regulator to make sure that none of this gets botched during your flight, which is really a good thing to see on this particular quad. And we have the Blitz F7 mini flight controller stack here, which is 2-part stack. So we have flight controller on top with a USB-C style connector and the 4-in-1 ESCs on the bottom. This is kind of nice, guys, because if you blow up one thing or the other, say you blow up your ESCs, but your flight controller survives, you can replace one or the other. They're separate entities. That's really, really nice for FPV. And honestly, I think one of my favorite things about this quad is the fact that it's so portable and it's kind of a mid-range cruiser. It's also pretty fast. The top speed's supposed to be around 70 miles an hour, around 110 kilometers per hour. So that's pretty fast for how small it is. So it does really move out pretty fast. If you wanted to kind of increase the freestyle capability of it, you could add some thicker cord props on here and give it a little more punch out and boost if you're flying something like a 4S 850 on here for this kind of close-in proximity type of flying. But beyond the speed as well, it feels different than flying something like a 7-inch or a 6-inch that you're flying range with, because this is kind of a range flying type of quad. But it lets me go places that I wouldn't send my 6 and 7-inch. I can dip down into the trees with this quad, and I feel like I can explore places that I normally wouldn't go with a bigger long-range quad. And honestly, I think it's a pretty nice looking quad to just look at. I love the iH3 design, and it's been such a long time since I flew this one that I kind of almost forgot about this series. And I'm happy to see that they brought it back to life with the brand new 03 system on board. And they also added the silicone dampeners, so you don't have to add them yourself. I just think that it's a lot of fun. So if you're looking for something kind of portable, small, quiet, with a really good flight time, and something that you can kind of explore different places with, and you also have the option to cinema or freestyle with it. I think it has more options than something else out there that might be bigger, like a 6 or 7-inch quad. They're primarily for one thing, and that's just getting out there and just really cruising. You don't really see many people freestyling with the 7-inch. Some people freestyle with the 6, but that's very rare. But this one can definitely range fly and it can freestyle. So very quick on the rates. The rates feel good on here. The tune felt excellent. And I have to say, I think the durability will be decent for you. It's a single plate unibody on the very bottom, and it's that 3K carbon fiber on here. So seems to be pretty well polished. It's not cheap feeling carbon fiber. And yeah, we have updated motors and power system on here as well. It's just a really interesting quad to me, and if you like it, you can grab one at the link down below. If it's something that you think you want to add to your collection, by all means grab one. The iH3 is a lot of fun. It has more versatility than a lot of quads out there. It's kind of like a Swiss Army knife, so to speak. Small, it fits in your pocket, and you can send it just about anywhere. It's a lot of fun to me. So an iFlight Classic Reborn, and I'm happy to have this one. I think it's dope. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the flight test today. It was beautiful, it was windy, and it was kind of crazy out there in the field, and I'm glad I didn't fail safe today. Thank you, Crossfire, for that. So I would suggest you get Crossfire, make sure you pick up a Crossfire module, and go that direction, and you'll thank me later. But I appreciate you guys watching my reviews. I'm Justin Davis. Hit me up in Discord. Let's get together and talk about FPV 7 days a week, and also get in on our FPV fighter competition. New season 2 is coming right up, guys. We just had a winner and congratulated him yesterday. So I'm super proud of the Austin inspired FPV. He won our tournament. So season 1's over, and I'm looking forward to season 2 and seeing all you guys brand new videos coming out. And if you join up with us, you can meet a bunch of new pilots. Over 700 people in our Discord now, talking about FPV all the time. I hope to see you there. I'll see you on the next one, guys. Take care.